Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Makakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders, GMS, who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Makakadash, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners, whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Shai. All right. And what I want to get into, in this lesson, all right, is dealing with, the times we coming into, we're going to have patience, faith, okay, going into these times and courage, patience, faith, and courage, that's what I entitled the lesson, patience, faith, all right, and courage going into these times, and they all, work together, as we're going to get into when you get into the book of Romans chapter 4 and verse, Romans chapter 5 and verse 1. I'm reading NLT. It said, therefore, since we have been made right in the Most High's sight by faith, you see, faith is justifying us in the sight of the Most High, and how do we show faith? Through action. The sacrifices, that we make, the commitment to the truth, the patience we show, okay, praying to our power, constantly laboring in this thing. All these are, all right, tokens of faith, and that's what's making us right with our power, is moving by faith, man, because faith is driving our decision making. Faith is driving our conduct, okay? Everything that we do is rooted in faith, because the scriptures say that we show faith by what? By works, We show faith by works, and not just the on-camera works, but the things that we do, all right, off camera, man. A lot of decision making, a lot of sacrifice behind the camera, a lot of labor happening, off camera, okay? And all those things are indicators of faith, man, okay? And it says, therefore, since we have been made right in the Most High's sight by faith, we have peace with the Most High because of what Yahweh Shai, our Lord, has done for us, man. Because faith activates the sacrifice of Yahweh Shai, which pardons, all right, the hopeful elect of sin. So our faith is activating that sacrifice of Yahweh Shai, okay, which is going to pardon us, from sin in the time of judgment, man. Because of course we can't keep the law perfectly, man. All right, but through faith we keep what we can, okay. Through faith we're constantly teaching, the brothers that's here to teach, man. Through faith, there's constantly, sacrifices. Hey, we take losses in this thing, man. Hey, we take the low. We'll be looked crazy, like scripture say. We'll be looked at as crazy for the sake of Yahweh Shai, man. We're fools for Yahweh Shai's sake, man. Going out on the highways and byways, man. Brothers, hey, because we risk, hey, every day our life, getting fired, okay? You see, anything can happen, man. Our freedom, the Lord, it takes faith to truly be on the front line in sincerity, man, okay? In this ministry, man. You see, we believe it's a power behind us, man. We don't believe that we're, all right, we're not in the mindset that we're taking on, all right, Esau through our own strength, through our own might. No, we know it's a power behind us, man. That's what makes us so bold. Okay? The boldness comes from the power that's behind us, which is Yahweh Bashem Shai. Okay? And through faith, man, that type of faith is activating, the blood of Yahweh Shai, man. Their sacrifice. And it says, because of our faith, Yahweh Shai has brought us into this place of undeserved privilege, where we now stand, and we confidently and joyfully look forward to sharing the Most High's glory. It said we confident, all right, and joyfully, man. You see? So our confidence in our power, is increasing, man. As we see the Lord, because the Lord shows that he's pleased with us, man. He constantly shows us little tokens, throughout this walk to show that he's pleased with us, man. And as we tap into the Spirit, man, it puts us on a frequency, man. It puts us on a high frequency with our power, man. And that's where the confidence comes from. Because we need to go into this time with confidence and courage, man. You know, because we're going to have to make some decisions based on deep trust in our power, man. Having heavy faith in our power, man. You know, and the more that the Lord shows us that he is, man, he's always showing us that he is, man. You know, you just look at prophecy unfolding and how it's happening exactly like the Lord said it will happen, man. The Lord is taking down Esau right before our eyes, man. Esau was turning into a goddamn caveman right before us, man. Okay? The Most High got this nigga devolving right before us because the Lord is taking this nigga out of power, man. You know, these are faith boosters, man. Okay? Every day there's some type of faith booster, man. You know, and we just increasing a little and little, all right, each and every day, man. And it's growing into something great to where we're going to be unmovable, Lord will. And we're that number, we're going to be unmovable, all right, in the clutch, man. You know, because we're going to have to take a hard stance in righteousness in the times coming up, man. You know, it's going to be a hard stance in righteousness that we're going to have to take, man. All right, and the Lord has us taking a stance in righteousness every day, okay? It says we can rejoice, too, when we run into problems and trials, for we know that they help us develop endurance. Or you read this in the KJV, and not only so, but we glory in tribulations, knowing that tribulation worketh patience. You know, so the Lord puts us through, you know, these simulations of affliction and suffering, okay, to build our patience, man. It's an exercise. You know, really, when you embrace the suffering, you embrace, you know, the spiritual exercises that the Lord has us going through, what to build patience, okay? And what does patience build? It says in patience, experience, man. So we're gaining experience with our power. You know, we know, okay, when you have experience, that takes away the panicking. You know, when we increase in experience, that takes away, you know, us being frantic or, you know, being irrational or impulsive, you know, in clutch situations, man. Okay, to where we can be at ease because we got experience with our power bringing us through situations, man. Our power working the work, you know. So we're gaining experience in this grace period, man. Okay, that's giving us what? Courage, man. You know, we're learning the skill set to have patience, because that's a skill. You know, to be patient, all right, to not to be impulsive, to not try to do too much, to not try to work ahead of the Most High, okay, but be patient and let him work. You know, that's a skill, man, and that's developed, you know. And it says, and patience, experience, and experience hope. And hope make it not ashamed. Yeah, so hope, because we read this in the verse 4 in the NLT, it says, an endurance develops strength of character, and character strengthens our confident hope of salvation. And confidence is going back to faith. You know, faith and confidence is a one and the same. Okay? So the Lord is developing our strength of character, man, showing you that, you know, we're not just gonna snap into it. Now the Lord's gonna put a heavy spirit on us to endure, but we're building up to that spirit, man. You know, it's a build up to that, you know, and that's why we go through our daily trials. You know, that's why we go through, you know, our seasons. You know, the Lord sends us through certain seasons, man. You know, refining us, man. You know, building that character, man. You see? So our character is being built to endure. You see? And as we build that character, we build that experience, man. That's confidence, you know? That confidence of salvation, man. Verse 5, and hope make it not ashamed, because the love of the Most High is shed abroad in our hearts, all right, by the Holy Spirit, which is given unto us, okay? So, you know, this process that we're going through, you know, is making us patient, okay? It's building our faith, okay? And it's giving us courage to make the decisions need to be made, man, for salvation, man, because we're going to have to make some courageous decisions, man. You know, so it's something I've been praying for a lot, you know, lately, just the courage, man, you know, in these times, man, because it's one thing to speak about these times, it's another thing to execute in a moment, all right, and it's going to take courage, man, you know, and that courage comes from what? Faith in our power, you know, that's the root of our courage, is faith in Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah. We look at our forefathers of old, you know, they had courage in the moment, you know, because of faith, okay, in Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah, you know, Even a few of our foremothers, man, they had courage in the moment because of faith, man. You see? So let's go here. It's the book of Lamentations, chapter 3. All right, this is the book of Lamentations, chapter 3, and verse 24. It said, "The Lord Yahweh Bashim Al Shai is my portion, said my soul, therefore will I hope in him." Okay, so we have, you know, we have access, you know, to Yahweh Bashim Al Shai going into these times. He's our portion, you know. He's dealing like the Lord gonna be hands on with his elect going through these times, man. You know, we have a power, okay, that's gonna intervene. You know, he's a present help in time of need. Okay? And it says, verse 25, "The Lord is good unto them that wait for him, to those that seeketh him." You see? And the Lord is gonna reward our patience, man. You know, the Lord is going to reward our patience, man, in all things, in every aspect that we've been patient, man. The Lord is going to reward that patience, man. You know, and we got to be a firm believer of that, man. We really got to believe that and take that in. Verse 26, it says, "It is good that a man should both hope and quietly wait for the salvation of the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Shai," man. You know, and that's going to be and it's a reward that's going to pay off forever. You know, we're going to be rewarded for helping, man. It's going to be an eternal reward, all right, for moments of patience, man. You know, so the patience is going to be well worth it, man. You know, so we going into these times, man. May the Lord increase us in patience, faith, and courage, you know. So, Lord, will you brothers, all right, and you few sisters edified. Till next time I say shalom. Kwam Yashala, Abba, Soon, shalom.